To, well, what we're going to call the high noon stream. Hold on. Just got a message here. 3:00 high. Oh, look at Ed. Ed just sent me a text. I should call this episode of the High Noon Show, which comes on every Monday through Friday at noon. Typically, that's when we would jump on the stream here. Noon, Monday through Friday. He says we should call it 3:00 high. 3:00 high. A reference to a fantastic late 80s film, high school film. 3:00 high. You guys ever seen 3:00 high? I loved it. It's kind of had some, you guys remember My Bodyguard? Kind of had some My Bodyguard vibes to it, but it was a couple of years later. All right, welcome to what is going to be called the 3:00 high version of the High Noon Show. This is the first of two streams that I do every day here on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. You can catch this one typically at noon, Monday through Friday, and then we do a 9 p.m. Central Standard Time show we call Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. So there you go. You can catch up on old shows by going to pugscast.com. That's fine. Go there. Find everything. You find everything there on Pugscast. Enjoy. It's, just a little something we do here. Now, the point of this show here, the High Noon Show, is designed specifically to bring you up to speed on all of the things that are happening on this day. Current events, headlines, trending topics, things people are buzzing about, whatever it is the world is talking about on this particular day, I just run through them and I just pull them out. I go like, okay, NFL. Yeah, the NFL is trending. Here's why the NFL is trending. Here's what I think about the NFL trending for this reason. And boom, we move on to the next one. And we do that. And by the end of whatever this takes, typically about 2 hours. I don't know about today. Today's a little bit late. I don't know. We're just going to play it by ear today. Typically in about 2 hours, I should have you completely prepped up for your day. All right. So the reason for this, I've been saying the last couple of days, I had some things to do today. It's a Labor Day weekend coming up, and I think you've heard the tales from out here at the One Percenter compound. We are lake people. And it being Labor Day weekend around the corner, the last lake weekend there was stuff that needed to be done. There was stuff. So here's what I did. So at like 8:30 in the morning, me and E, we had to go all the way, not all the way, it's not that far. We had to go to the lake. We had to jump in the water. We had to take 2 jet skis. Are they even jet skis? I don't know. They're Sea-Doos. There's a difference, right? Wave runners, jet skis, Sea-Doos. They're Sea-Doos. We had to take the Sea-Doos. We had to drag one on a tow rope because it won't start. And we had to load them up on a trailer and take them all the way across town to Garland, from Lake Louisville to Garland, to some shop there where they're going to fix them because we need these jet skis to be up and ready and operational for the big Labor Day weekend. But here's what happened. So we're out there. We're on the lake. It's 8:30 in the morning. You guys remember what happened around 8:30, 9 o'clock this morning? Thunderstorm. Like just an insane thunderstorm descends on Lake Louisville. And you've got E on his jet ski towing another jet ski that won't start, just trying to take it around the marina to the area where we can load it onto the trailer. And it's thunderstorm, it's lightning, and he's like, oh, it was so sad. And then guess what happened? I dropped a giant landscaping rock on my foot, and I was wearing sandals. So I've got a jacked up toe. It's been a long day. But without further ado, let's get into what today is. Okay, welcome to the High Noon Show. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every day, Monday through Friday at noon. Today is the 30th day of August. The 2022 is the year. 2022 is the year. So there you go. There's 242 days so far in this year, with 123 remaining until the end of the year. We like to go through historical things that happened on this day first. I'm going to tell you why today is cool. We do history, a little bit of history, then we do some birthdays, then we mourn some passings, and then, and only then, do I feel that we are prepared to move into what is actually happening today. So let's get started on this day in 1836. Here's one for you. Happy birthday, Houston! Happy birthday! It was on this day in 1836 that the city of Houston, we're here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, our cousin down south, our humid, stinky cousin, Houston, down there. Dallas-Fort Worth is the pretty one. Austin is the cool one, that everybody likes. And then Houston is just kind of skanky. Houston had a drug problem. Like, we're talking about the Texas family. Houston had a drug problem. Houston got pregnant in high school. Houston, it's Houston. That's Houston going to do what Houston's going to do. We in Dallas Fort Worth, though, we're like the eldest daughter. We're beautiful. We dress great. We get amazing grades. We do everything perfect. We're clean. Yeah, not like Houston. Not like Houston, our sketchy ass brother. Born on this day, Houston, 1836. City of Houston's founded by Augustus Chapman Allen and John Kirby Allen. The Allen boys got together and formed Houston. On this day in 1945, the Supreme Commander of the Allied Forces, General Douglas MacArthur, lands at Atsugi Air Force Base in Japan. So basically on this day, it was over between us and Japan. I mean, it was over. But when you send the Allied commander to the country that he's at war with, yeah, it'd be like if Tojo showed up at the mall in Washington, right? It'd be like, that would not be a good thing for our side if Tojo. So on this day, basically, MacArthur landed in Japan and was like, "What you got for me? What you got?" And they had nothing for him. But also, let's just go across the globe a little bit. On the very same day, very same year, 1945, the Allied Control Council governing Germany after World War II comes into existence. So on the very same day in the very same year that MacArthur landed in Japan, we also took control of Germany, or at least, Allied control. It was us and England and Russia and all that kind of stuff. Isn't that interesting? It was on this day in 1945. On this day in 1963, the Moscow-Washington hotline, famously to be referred to as the red phone between the leaders of the United States and the Soviet Union, goes into operation. Did you guys know that was a real thing? I didn't know that was a real thing. I just thought it was sort of like a bat phone thing. I thought it was like one of them deals where, somebody once said that it was a thing, and so we all just kind of went with it being a thing, that like the president could be sitting, behind, I don't know which desk he's using, the Adams desk or the Resolute desk. I don't know, whatever desk the president has chosen to use in the Oval Office. He's sitting there, and I like to think there's a red phone, and you pick up that phone. And when you pick up the phone, it rings on the other end. That means you're calling. It only goes one place, and it goes right to, I don't know, whoever, Putin or, Yeltsin or whoever the guy was in charge. And then, so we pick it up on our end. It rings over there, and then he picks it up. And supposedly it's just, a direct line between the two leaders. I didn't know it was a real thing. It is. It actually is a real thing. And it started on this day in 1963. On this day in 1967, Thurgood Marshall is confirmed as the first African-American justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. 2019, let's jump ahead to 2019. A huge accident during this one. Okay, F1 stuff. In 2019 at Spa, which is Belgium, the Belgian Grand Prix, known as Spa. We just came out of a Spa weekend. It happens every weekend, so that's why it's, this is, man, 2019, there was a crash. It was, I wasn't watching Formula One, and this occurred in Formula 2, which is the racing circuit just below Formula One. But I've seen this crash on YouTube. Oh, if you watch Drive to Survive on Netflix, there's a very big Drive to Survive. The first season on Netflix took place in 2019. And so this incident that happened on this day in 2019 is covered in the Netflix series Drive to Survive. It's the death of Antoine Hubert, who was a 19-year-old F2 driver. Just, hey, if you want to see it, you can see it because it's the anniversary and it's actually trending. But oh God, you have to understand Spa, the racetrack at Spa in Belgium is in the mountains. So there are these inclines and these banks, and this kid just came flying down the mountain into a bank turn. Just T-boned another guy, and then everybody, it was moments like that. You see that, man, and you think, Jesus, these F1 guys are nuts. This is just strap me to a missile and shoot me into space. That's basically what these guys are. Unbelievable. That was really sad. On this day in 2021, the last remaining American troops left Afghanistan. That ended the U.S. involvement in the war over there. Okay, so let's move on to some birthdays. Born on this day in 1898. Oh, yeah, I'm going all the way back to 1898 because I like this lady, and you don't even know who this lady is, but you will when I tell her who you know her from or where you know her from. Shirley Booth. Shirley Booth, American actress and singer. You know who Shirley Booth was? You want to know who? The only reason I know who a singer who was born in 1898 is, the only reason I know who Shirley Booth is because Shirley Booth is Mrs. Claus. Do you remember remember like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Remember A Year Without a Santa Claus? Or remember Santa Claus is Coming to Town? Remember all of those? Like they were like kind of claymation or maybe puppets. I don't know what they were. They were awesome. Shirley Booth played Mrs. Claus for all of them. She was, and I always liked her because she always had this like really, I don't know, Mrs. Claus was cool. That's all I'm saying. Mr. Claus depicted as kind of a crank. Santa's kind of a crank in a lot of those depictions. Not Mrs. Claus, not Shirley Booth. She's awesome. Born on this day in 1908, dead in 1991, Fred McMurray. My Three Sons. That's all he did, right? Fred McMurray actually has an interesting career because most people know him as the dad on My Three Sons, which was a 1960s, early 70s TV show. He played Douglas, right? Mr. Douglas. That's what it was. And Uncle Charlie. Remember they had three boys, Uncle Charlie, Mr. Douglas, and the mom was dead. They always killed off the mom in those early shows. So Fred McMurray played like just the nicest guy on the planet. And Mr. Douglas was like the nicest guy on the planet. And this was his TV role, but Fred McMurray had been doing movie roles for like 40 years, and he was well established as a bad guy. Fred McMurray played a bad guy in most of his roles. He was a dark, sort of a gangster, a lot of times a gangster. And then all of a sudden, he gets the biggest thing after 40 years of being like a piece of trash, you know? It's like all of a sudden now he's remembered as like this lovely guy. Fred McMurray, 1908, born on this day. 1918, Ted Williams. Ted Williams died in 2002, but his head is still alive somewhere. Remember they cut Ted Williams' head off and cryogenically froze it, and possession of the head is like, I don't know, there was like some lawsuit about, I want Ted Williams' head. And I don't know. It seems the family should have the head if the family wanted the head, but I don't know. Born on this day in 1930, a rich guy we all like, Warren Buffett. You want to know why Warren Buffett is a rich guy we all like? Because he doesn't live like a rich guy. Like we know, there is no doubt Warren Buffett is gross wealthy. Like, you know, you see these new hip hop guys, like they get like one hit and they start rolling around everywhere in limousines, and they got the gold and the diamonds, and, you know, and they're shooting their video in front of a Lear jet, and, you know, it's all that bullshit. It's like, yeah, you might have a little money, but you ain't got Warren Buffett money. And Warren Buffett, he's driving like a 20-year-old Toyota. And you're Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett could buy the record company that signed you to that contract 100 times over. And that's why we like Warren Buffett. He's not showy. He's not showy with the money. He's not obnoxious with it. Let's see here. But he's probably a piece of shit. I mean, he's probably, like in real life, he's probably a piece of shit. But, you know, he doesn't. Although maybe he's not. He's not, because his kid's really good. His oldest son, who's going to inherit like all the money, is like a really good dude. He's like doing nothing but building wells in Africa for poor people. I mean, it's like, all right. So maybe Warren Buffett's good, but not flashy. We like that about him. John Phillips, Mamas and the Papas, born on this day in 1935, molested all of his daughters. He's a piece of shit monster. Burn in hell, John Phillips. Bruce McLaren, born on this day, more F1 stuff. Bruce McLaren, he is, of course, the former F1 driver and the inventor, creator, builder, whatever. McLaren automobiles. My favorite car, the McLaren is my favorite car. There is this ridiculously attractive trophy wife who lives down the street from us here. She lives in this she's got this ridiculous, like we've got a normal house, like the 1%er compound. I talk about the 1%er compound here as being, you know, really nice. And it is really nice. I mean, but it's, you know, it's a normal house. You know, the square footage isn't ridiculous. It's a normal house. It's just got really nice stuff, and it's in a really nice neighborhood. This lady a couple blocks down, she's got like a $10 million house, right? She's like 30. She's gorgeous, and she trucks around the neighborhood in a McLaren. Oh, hottest car. Happy birthday, Bruce McLaren, born on this day in 1937. Peggy Lipton was born on this day in 1946, but she died in 2019. Peggy Lipton, fabulous all-time hot chick. She's just a hot chick. Peggy Lipton is most famous for being Rashida Jones's mom. You know Rashida Jones? Everybody's like, Rashida Jones. Isn't that Quincy Jones's daughter? Yeah, Rashida Jones is the daughter of Quincy Jones and Peggy Lipton. And She has Quincy Jones' skin color, and she has Peggy Lipton's face. It's pretty weird. Louis Black, great comedian, born on this day in 1948. Louis Black. Also born on this day, umbilical cousins with Louis Black, Fred Hampton, American activist and revolutionary, chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party, famous for the movie that was made about, what was that movie? What was the Fred Hampton movie? Daniel Chilwood, I can't say his name. So good. It was such a good movie. I can't remember what it was called. It was out like 2 years ago. Anyway, there we go. Good movie. Fred Hampton celebrating a birthday today. Killed by the FBI. Well, just put a pin in that. Just Fred Hampton killed by the FBI. Put a pin in that. Born on this day in 1963, Michael Chiklis. American actor, director, and producer. Love Michael Chiklis. Love Michael Chiklis. Vic Mackey from The Wire. All time. And, if I was going to do all-time greatest TV character draft, Vic Mackey from The Wire as portrayed by Michael Chiklis. Top three, man. That's how good The Wire is. Top three. Now I gotta talk about Tony Soprano. I gotta talk about Vic Mackey from The Wire, Michael Chiklis. We gotta talk about Dinklage as Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. I don't know. I got a list. I got a draft. I can do that draft. All-time greatest TV characters draft. There'll be two divisions. There'll be sitcom division and an hour-long division because you can't mix the two. How am I going to decide who's a better sitcom character, Kramer or Tony Soprano? I can't do that. So there's got to be two divisions. Born on this day in 1972, another fabulous babe for the ages, Cameron Diaz, American model, actress, and producer, celebrating a birthday today. And finally, Andy Roddick, tennis player, right? Tennis player. He's celebrating a birthday. Andy Roddick, born in 1982, celebrating today. All right, we got some big deaths. Here's one. Here's a local luminary who went on to global fame. Certainly one of the most famous historically speaking, a last name that is made the history books. Dead on this day in 1970, Abraham Zapruder. That's right, Dallas resident Abraham Zapruder. He happened to be out there on the grassy knoll on the day that President Kennedy was in town, and he was playing with his new camera. Oh, did I say The Wire? Did I say The Wire? I'm sorry. I'm looking at Adam. You're right. Vic Mackey. The Wire, The Shield, same thing. No, not the same thing. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Vic Mackey, The Shield, of course. Back to Zapruder. He died on this day in 1970. Filmed the Zapruder film, Kennedy assassination film. He was there. He was filming. Dead on this day in 1979, Jean Seberg. Jean Seberg, American actress. Remember about Fred Hampton when I said the FBI killed him? Put a pin in that. Yeah, same with Jean Seberg. Jean Seberg was an actress. She's not so much famous here, but she is an icon of French New Wave cinema. So there was a style of film in the 1960s. There's a whole bunch of directors who made movies that you and I have never seen, but they're very big and they're very influential, and people talk about French New Wave cinema and all. Jean Seberg was an American actress who went over there, and she became a big star. Breathless was like her big film. Breathless became an icon of cool, of new wave glamour in the 1960s, late 50s and 1960s. So Jean Seberg, she fell in love with a black guy who attended some Black Panther meetings. And so the FBI decided to end her career. And they did. And they taunted her. They planted fake stories about her. They made her absolutely unemployable because she fell in love with a black guy in 1967. Whatever. It was a problem. And it was J. Edgar Hoover personally who wanted her taken down. It was J. Edgar Hoover. He saw her as this white girl from America who was she was dating a Black Panther, and they decided that can't happen. We can't have young people seeing the new Doris Day with somebody, whatever it was. But yeah, they killed her. The FBI killed Jean Seberg and Fred Hampton. Dead on this day in 2003, a guy who was deserving of a draft, but I didn't put one together because we're a little pressed for time. It's a little bit different kind of a show today. Charles Bronson. Charles Bronson died on this day in 2003. God, I love Charles Bronson. Dead on this day in 2015, another guy who we might have been able to do a draft, but I'm not a big horror film fan, so I don't know how credible my Wes Craven draft would be. Wes Craven, film director, Nightmare on Elm Street, a whole bunch of, horror films. Wes Craven died on this day in 2015. He was born in 1939, so he was kind of young. He was right. He's not that old. 40, 60. Okay, he was 75. I guess he was, but that's not by, he must have had something, because that's not old by modern day standards. We're living into our late 80s. We're touching hundreds. My generation should touch 100 easily. It's just, and also dead on this day in 2019, Valerie Harper. Rhoda. That's a sad one. When was she born? How old was Valerie Harper when she died? Now, she had cancer. We know that she had cancer. Cancer comes for all of us. 2015. Okay, so she was same age. She was 79. Valerie Harper was almost 80 years old when she passed. So good run for her. All right, let's get into the trends. All the subjects that are trending, stuff people are talking about, all that good stuff. Let's get you all caught up on today, okay? President Biden is trending. He's going to be addressing the nation in prime time on Thursday in a speech that is being called a battle for the soul of the nation. He is expected to, he's going for it. He is... he's riding a big summer high. His a lot of wins. He's feeling confident. This isn't something he would have pushed, but coming up on the midterms, they feel confident about it. What was the headline from one of the? I was on the Drudge Report, so it was some red source. Because Drudge has good silly stories, but if you're looking for your politics, Drudge is decidedly a conservative site. Just so you know. But one of the sites was talking about the red wave has turned into a sad little puddle or something, and they're saying it's because of the abortion thing. They're saying that it doesn't matter about everything else that you people are bitching about and that we're bitching about and that they're bitching about and that everybody's bitching. It doesn't matter. It's all about abortion now, folks. It's all about abortion. And apparently he's feeling confident. So he's going to call for an assault weapons ban. That's right. Bringing it back. Apparently, everybody's preparing for that on Thursday night for Biden's assault weapons ban speech in his what is being termed battle for the soul of the nation. This is hot on new polling data that says 52% of Americans want a ban on assault rifles. They want to go back to the 1990s assault rifle ban. 52%. Only 43% are against it. With what is the remaining people? They're just like, I don't know. Okay, so whatever. I guess I don't have an opinion. But it is for the first time ever. It is definitely trending upwards in favor of Biden and the assault weapons ban people, and they're going to make a play for it. Coming up Thursday, so don't go anywhere. Jackson, Mississippi is trending. If you're seeing why Jackson, Mississippi is trending, it's because they have no water. Because I don't know if you know this, but Jackson, Mississippi, we picked up Jackson, Mississippi last year, and we moved them to the Balkans. Jackson, Mississippi has no water. The United States of America, a place where taxpayers live and own houses and go to school and do all of those things, has no water because their infrastructure, their pumping system was so neglected. It should have been fixed. I watched a guy talk. It should have been fixed. Are you ready for this? 30 years ago. 30 years ago, they did some patchwork thing to the water filtration system there because they didn't want to raise taxes because ain't nobody want to pay for nothing, right? So they didn't fix the problem. And now, because they had record flooding, all of the flooded water has mixed in with the drinking water, and they have no use of water. They can't shower. They can't drink it. Unbelievable. Jackson, Mississippi. But, because remember Flint? I mean, Flint's great now. Flint's water, that's like Perrier coming out of the taps now. No, it's not. Flint's water still sucks. They didn't fix it. We moved on. We were outraged. How can this happen in America? We were outraged. And then we went, oh, Here's something new to be outraged about. I can shout about this stuff. And we moved on. And people in Flint still have shit water. There's still sick people. There's still hundreds. There's a lot of court cases slowly matriculating its way through. Jackson, Mississippi has no water. The National Guard is out there. They're handing out bottles of water. No water. Jackson, Mississippi. Bend, Oregon is trending. Bend, Oregon. This is, we talked about this yesterday. There was a shooting at a Safeway supermarket in Bend, Oregon on Sunday evening. A 19-year-old who used to work at the store. We're getting some details. I don't even know his name. I would say his name. I'm not even going to click on the story because I saw, I don't know if I can just regurgitate this without having to give this little monster any credit. So he used to work, this loser kid used to work at this Safeway. And apparently he lost his job because he used to get into fights. He used to start fights with customers. Okay, so here's an example of who this kid was. Apparently he started a fight with somebody in the parking lot of the Safeway while he was working. And the fight started because as he was pushing carts, wrangling carts, apparently somebody looked at him. And he looked at the guy and he said, "You want to go, bitch?" While working, while wearing the safe. I mean, this is somebody who's not really thinking about what's going to happen in the next half hour. Because, you're out there, you're just punching a clock. This is just beer money for you. You're a kid. You're going to start a fight with a customer while you're wearing a Safeway. So he lost his job. They're saying he's upset about that. He was a huge troublemaker. He got into fights with everybody all the time. A lot of times, people will be like, "Yeah, I never saw this coming. He was a good, quiet kid." No, not this dude. This dude was apparently the town's biggest asshole. And he had made a whole bunch of social media posts about planning, something. You're all going to remember my name. You're doing all that creepy stuff. He had intended, get this, such a weird time for this attack, too. A grocery store at 9:30 p.m. on a Sunday. That just seems like an odd time. It just seems like a safe time. Seems like a time I would go to the grocery store because it seems like nobody's going to shoot the grocery store up when there's only 3 people here. You know what I mean? It's an off-hour time. But apparently he was planning on attacking his old high school this week. His plan was that he'd purchased his AR-15. He had also had a shotgun and he had a handgun too. He had all of these guns and he was going to attack his high school this week, but he just couldn't wait. Apparently something overcame him on Sunday and he decided that he was going to. So that's the latest out of Bend, Oregon. 3 people dead, including the shooter. He is included in that. So thankfully it's not, 2 innocent people are dead, so it's a terrible thing. But we are in the numbers game. It's what an ugly thing. We are in an uglies game. We are in an ugly numbers game when it comes to these things. Oh, he only got 2 of us. It's not like it's not like the guy in Las Vegas who got hundreds of or whatever that number was. I don't even know. But there you have it, Bend, Oregon. Kherson, you're probably going to hear the name Kherson a lot. Kherson is in the Ukraine. It's one of the big cities. It has been under Russian control for the better part of the last 90 days. Kherson is trending now because it's being hailed as a major turning point in the war. We don't talk a lot about the war, but this is a big one. This is Kiev officials claim to have used U.S.-supplied HIMARS rocket systems to destroy 3 bridges crossing the Dnieper River. Strikes, it said, would cut the Russian forces occupying Kherson off from weapons and troop reinforcements. According to Western military sources, Kiev's strikes on the river crossings are part of a targeted effort to isolate Russian troops on the western bank of the river, with the ultimate goal of recapturing the entire Kherson region. Moscow relied on those bridges to supply their troops stationed west of the Dnieper River, who are now at risk of becoming isolated from the rest of Russia's occupied forces. Okay, so this is a little bit... Oh, here's how the Russian media is portraying it. Russian outlets reported Monday that Ukraine had struck targets in the Kherson region, but the Ukrainian forces had been solely focused on civilian infrastructure. So the Russians are saying, yeah, they're killing their own people, and they're not even fighting us anymore. They're killing their own people. All right, why is this important? What I just read, that's obviously a story that was posted a few hours ago. That has changed. They have sealed off the river. So basically what is happening here is the Russians took Kherson. The Ukrainian forces pulled out, let the Russians have it. Now, Kherson is divvied up because of the way this river forks through it. So there are sections of the area that are almost completely surrounded by water because of the way the river forks, right? So what the Ukrainian forces did was they pulled out of Kherson, and then they let the Russians get all comfortable in there. And then, one by one, they started taking out all of the bridges around Kherson. So now you have a very large Russian fighting force who is basically trapped on an island. They can't get across the river. They are surrounded by the Ukraine military using our stuff. American-made technology, baby. That's right. Run, you Russian bitch, run. So they've got them completely sealed off, and they can't get food, and they can't get weapons, and they can't get. So it's a big deal. This is a big turning point. Whether or not, look, this war ain't ending. This war is going to go on, but this is a really bad situation currently happening to a very, very large and important part of the Russian military force. They're basically stranded. They've been completely cut off. Being called a military, a strategic military move of brilliance is what they're saying. Whoever the Ukrainian, pulling out, getting them isolated, letting them get comfortable, letting them think they have it, and then basically boarding up the doors, locking them in. They're like, okay, you guys are now locked into this area. Okay, I hate to do this, but there's a couple of things that we need to. Former President Trump is trending because he is demanding that he's demanding that he be reinstated. He's demanding that. I don't know if he thinks there's like a government office that can just go, okay, that guy who lost the election last time, okay, we're just going to rubber stamp this. He's president now. What was it, 600 days that Biden's been in, and you're just going to, yeah, you're done. Well, yeah, we decide. He demanded it. I mean, that's so silly. Show me you don't know how all of this works. That's basically what he just did. He doesn't know how all of this works. That's also trending. Trump is trending again with True Social, his social media thing. Google Play and Android stores will not host the app because of bullshit. Because that's what they're saying. They're saying, nah, there's too much fake news on there. There's too many QAnon bullshit and nonsense. So they're not gonna allow it. So there you go. And in other fun news, this is the ugly part of the trends. Civil war. Folks, are you ready for this? Civil war. 40% of Americans. 40% of Americans think we're heading towards a civil war within the decade. Let me get this right, because I don't want to misrepresent it. More than 40% of Americans think civil war likely within the decade. More than half, I think such a conflict is at least somewhat likely. New poll finds. The poll. Okay, so let's go through this slowly. Okay. So a poll was put out. Do you think there's going to be a civil war? And people answered. Or do you think there could be a civil war? Doesn't mean there's going to be a civil war. It just means that you're looking around going, oh yeah, I can totally see this. There ain't gonna be a civil war. There's not going to be any civil war. Now, what there might be is there might be a number of you morons who decide to take your constitutionally gifted guns and go out in the street and start wreaking havoc. And there might be more and more crazy people. You might see Proud Boys showing up places. There is not going to be a war. You know why there's not going to be a war? Because 15 guys in your hometown that decide the war starts today in the town square, those 15 guys, they're going to have to go against the local police department. And whether or not, I don't give a shit what you think about, well, there's a lot of cops that believe it. That's fine. But there are a lot of cops who are going to look at these 15 yahoos in the town square and go, I got 20 years on the force. I got kids. I got a daughter in college. I got a pension. yeah, I'm just going to keep doing my job. I'm not going to suddenly turn criminal and attack the town with these 15. Yeah, look, this is a stupid thing. There isn't going to be a civil war. There's going to be a bunch of people losing their jobs because, oh, I didn't show up to work today because I thought the civil war was going to start. No, it's going to be a bunch of people losing their jobs and a whole lot of people going to go to jail. That's it. And there's going to be a bunch of innocent people who die. There are going to be people who die. People are going to get killed by this shit because we are in a full-on civil war that is going to change the country. No, that ain't gonna happen. Please. Because again, it's only the craziest wing. There's a whole bunch of people who are crazy. Like 40%, I'd say 40% of people are just crazy and they say stupid shit because they're dumb and they don't really get information from good sources. They just get information that they want to believe. They're like, yeah, that sounds right. Obama's a lizard, and they say shit like that. So, but those people are going to pick up guns and go, you know what? I'm just going to shoot somebody now because that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Civil war. Here's another interesting poll here. Weed versus cigarettes. Did you see this? This came out. Oh my God. Do you know that for the first time ever, more people admit to smoking weed than admit to smoking cigarettes? Whoa! Whoa! Marijuana use is outpacing cigarette use for the first time in history, says the headline. More people in the United States are now smoking marijuana than cigarettes, according to a Gallup poll. And why wouldn't they? I mean, what the hell do you get from cigarettes other than lung cancer? I don't understand it. Cigarette use has been trending downward during the past decade. That's a weird one. Did you ever seen somebody? Remember how when we were kids, not kids, but maybe even just when we were younger, you would from time to time see like a 15-year-old out in front of the 7-Eleven smoking a cigarette. You know what I mean? You'd see that. You'd see like a young, and it was funny. It was like, that looks so stupid. You don't see that anymore. You don't see kids smoking cigarettes. I'm always amazed when I see like someone in their 20s smoking a cigarette. I'm always like, what are you? What are you, like a 40-year-old in a 20-year-old's body? So I mean, it doesn't shock me. Let's see here. More people in the United States are now smoking marijuana than cigarettes. Cigarette use has been trending downward during the past decade, with only 11% of Americans saying they smoke them in a poll conducted July 5th through the 26th. 11% of Americans say they smoke cigarettes. 11%. There was a time when I was like in my teens where that number was probably like 80%. Like everybody smoked. It was so gross. Everybody smoked. And because everybody was gross and everybody was smoking, nobody noticed how gross it was. It was only the people who weren't smoking who were like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? You people are eating a meal in a restaurant and 75 people are all smoking cigarettes at the same time and we're supposed to eat this meal? Adam says, yeah, but people vape now. Yeah, they do. They do vape, but it's a different thing. It's not cigarettes. I'm talking about cigarettes. I'm talking about the burning of the carbonized burning of the tobacco leaf. That's something that's not happening. My kid won't vape though. My kid has been completely, well, I mean, and thankfully so. I mean, I tell him all the time because, I chew tobacco and he used to see me chew tobacco and he saw me quit chewing tobacco, the actual dip stuff. Now I just use these pouches. But I quit chewing tobacco when he became like 12, like I quit last year, because I started to think, okay, so he's getting to the age now where he's going to start replicating some of these things. So, but whenever he sees people vape, he's at 13 years old. He will never vape. He thinks that you get like lead. I don't know what it is. He says, that person's just sucking lead right into their lung. Like somebody got into his head. Maybe his mom did. Good job, Mom. Somebody got into his head that like vaping is not like the alternative. Like you can't just start vaping because the goal is to make sure the kid doesn't get addicted to nicotine in any form, right? That's what you don't want the kid addicted to nicotine because you don't need that. 16% of Americans say that they smoke marijuana. 11% of Americans admit they smoke cigarettes. Only 11% of Americans admit they smoke cigarettes. Well, 16% of Americans freely admit that they smoke marijuana. That is crazy. That's not like marijuana past cigarettes by like, cigarettes are at 11 and marijuana is like 11.5 or 12. No, 16 to 11. That's a 5-point difference. Attitudes around both substances have also shifted dramatically. In 2019, 83%. Okay, so 2019. In 2019, 83% of Americans said they thought cigarettes were very harmful to smokers, while 14% said they are somewhat harmful. Again, these polls suck. Who are the 14% of people who in 2022 was asked, are cigarettes harmful? And they went, somewhat. See, these people vote somewhat in the face of all of the lung cancer deaths, in the face of decades and decades of research, somewhat 14%. Smoking cigarettes is clearly on the decline and is most likely to become even more of a rarity in the years ahead. This reflects both public awareness. Okay, so there you go. We need to go any more of that. Here's a little. Wait, actually, there's something more here. 53% of people in this poll said that they think marijuana has positive effects on those who use it. You're damn right it does. You're damn right it does. It is so nice to see this sea change in attitudes, because it used to be, only the stoner, burnout, loser. No, are you kidding me? Like I say, man, go to a high school party. I got a 13-year-old kid. He's going to start going to high school parties. I would far, far prefer my kid to be the kid that is sitting on the couch with 3 other kids, smoking weed, playing video games, just zoning out, than be, the Jocko football guy who's trying to, chug an entire pitcher of keg beer, and then he's going to put his head through the wall because he's crazy wild, man. I would much rather have my kid be the stoned kid just sitting on the couch watching. Because you know why? That stoned kid gets home safe. That stone kid doesn't do anything stupid. That stone kid maybe goes to 7-Eleven and spends, that's the dumbest thing the stone kid's going to do. He's going to spend all of his money on like rollers at 7-Eleven at 3:00 in the morning or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? All right. Attitudes are changing. You know what it is? I think I saw this actually happen in Illinois when weed became legal. I actually was at a party, and I'm not going to say I didn't get high with this person just by habit. I would have if it was offered. But I watched a friend's mother who was like 80 get high at this party. It was like a nice cocktail party. This was a nice thing. And, people were standing out on the back porch and people were smoking because it's legal, just like the smoker's patio. There's just people. And this kid's mom got high. And she was one of these 80s moms who she ran Dare, she all of these kinds of marijuana is the worst thing. Even though she probably grew up in the 60s, she was like a kind of goody, like she would never have done that. She had allowed all of the bullshit and anti-weed propaganda to basically just fill her head for 40 years. And now here she is 80 years old and it's legal and she's at her kid's party. Her kid is a man at 50 years old. She's at her kid's party and she decides that she's going to get high. And oh my God, everybody was watching her for the rest of the night. And let me tell you, she had the time of her life. I asked him afterwards, I go, so what happened with your mom? He goes, dude, she said she had the best night of sleep she has ever had in her life. She just took like 2 puffs, got high. Oh, and the other thing that I remember that she said, after experiencing what being high from marijuana was like, this 80-year-old woman was like, I thought it was totally different. That was nice. That was really nice. It's like, yes. And that's what people are realizing. Yes, it's nice. It's nice to be able to have a social interaction with people. We all have anxieties. We all have our little, we're nervous or awkward or whatever, but it is very nice to just have something that sort of removes all of that and allows you to just be comfortable and you can talk and socialize and you can be funny. It seems like you're quicker. It's just all of these things. You can't do that when you're wasted on 12 beers. You can't do that. Not to mention the fact that hangovers suck. You don't get hangovers with weed. You wake up the next morning and you're like, whoa, do I feel rested? That was a great night's sleep. Let's go to the beach. So it's nice to see these things changing because I never understood it. I mean, I think when I was younger, like, a teenager and all that stuff, I understood it because weed was bad because that's where I came from. But then as I got older and I started getting out into the professional world and I started seeing really successful, driven, ambitious people to be admired who were regular weed smokers. It's like, wait, this guy's a criminal? This guy's not a criminal. This guy's not really. He's actually a good person who contributes to society. So it was later in my life that I started to realize I never smoked weed in high school. That was not my thing. I was stupid ass beer guy. I was dumb beer guy. Oh, watch me drink half a bottle of whiskey. I was that idiot. And look, man, a lot of problems could have been solved if I had hung out with stoners instead of like jocks. Seriously, probably would have been better for everybody involved. All right, Jimmy Garoppolo is also trending. One of the problems with today's trends is that it's cut down day in the NFL. So pretty much it's all NFL. It's who's getting cut here. It's who's getting cut there. Jimmy Garoppolo is interesting, though. I'll mention the Jimmy Garoppolo thing because Jimmy Garoppolo has been signed to an extension is this a new contract or is it an extension? I'm not sure. Whatever it is. At the end of the day, Jimmy Garoppolo of the San Francisco 49ers is now the highest paid backup quarterback in the history of the NFL. Now, what's happening there? Well, last year they drafted Trey Lance, who is believed to be the quarterback of the future for the San Francisco 49ers. But they had Jimmy Garoppolo. And let's be honest, San Francisco 49ers have been pretty damn competitive with Jimmy Garoppolo. Super Bowls, championship games. I mean, they're winning games with Jimmy Garoppolo. But they felt they needed something better. So the opportunity to drag Trey Lance out of, where was he from, North Dakota or something like that, to drag Trey Lance out of a small school and make him the new franchise quarterback was something that they wanted to do. Now that raised the question, what are you going to do with Garoppolo? Because Garoppolo has done really nothing to lose his job. I mean, yes, it's frustrating. Jimmy Generous, he's always willing to give the ball away to the other team. Jimmy Generous, throws some poorly timed picks. But, whatever, he's running Kyle Shanahan's system. So he's doing something. So the idea was that they were going to trade probably, which is, to the Seahawks, which would have been a weird trade considering the history between the Seahawks and the 49ers. But the Seahawks, after losing Russell Wilson to the Broncos, the Seahawks were thought to be the team that was going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. And then Trey Lance would be able to become a starting quarterback without the specter of having a guy on the bench behind him who led this team to some big victories, a guy who has won with this team. So 49ers think they're ready. They think it's just, a couple dominoes fall in either direction and they're on their way. They are right there. So Trey Lance has been named the starter, or at least believed to be the starter, and Jimmy G is the backup. So let's get Jimmy G out of here because you can't have this new young starter with the former backup sitting there looking over his shoulder. It was all but thought, no way Jimmy G was going to be on this roster, and they re-signed him. Why did they re-sign him? Because Trey Lance shit the bed on Thursday night in his final preseason game, and the 49ers were like, oh, we've got a really good team, but if our quarterback absolutely sucks, not because he sucks at quarterback, but because he's a young kid from a small school who doesn't have NFL experience, right? That's why he's going to suck. They're like, and then we don't have anybody. Then we got... So basically what they're looking at now is starting Trey Lance, having Garoppolo on the bench. And should the 49ers start out 0-3 with Trey Lance, you got Jimmy G. Jimmy G can come in, he knows the system. Or here's the other really, this is where I think the play should be for the 49ers with Jimmy G. I mean, they've got so much money tied up in him now. I mean, it's not crazy money. It's a lot of money for a guy that you don't really want to be your starter. So here's what they should do. I mean, could you imagine, and God, I don't want to put this out there, but let's just use as an example the Dallas Cowboys. Week 3, Dak Prescott breaks his ankle. Jerry Jones on the phone with the San Francisco 49ers trying to make a trade for Jimmy G for the rest of the season? Or are the Cowboys in a place where they're basically like, if we don't have Dak playing on all cylinders and we can't win? I don't know. But I just used the Cowboys as an example. There could be competitive teams out there who suffer a quarterback injury, a season-ending quarterback injury, who is going to be willing to pay through the nose come week 4, week 5 for a Jimmy Garoppolo who is sitting on the bench. So, maybe it's a smart play. I don't know. John Gruden is also trending. John Gruden is trending because today officially ends the John Gruden, Mike, hold on, wait a second, where's the story? Mike Mayock era with the Las Vegas Raiders. Here, this is something. So John Gruden and Mike Mayock were brought in by, I don't know what's his name. We'll just call him Al Davis Jr. Was brought in by Al Davis Jr. to basically remake the team as they moved to Las Vegas. New team, exciting coach. And they got Mayock. They got a guy, oh, yeah, we're thinking outside the box. We're not going with somebody who's worked their way up through NFL front offices over the past decade. No. We're going to go to the loudmouth on TV that sits with Mel Kiper and argues with him over draft picks because he's a draft guru. So we're going to get him. We're going to get Mayock, and we're going to get Gruden. You ever seen Gruden's quarterback thing? Nobody knows talent like Gruden. Oh, my God. Can you imagine having a draft room with Mike Mayock and John Gruden? Well, both of those dudes are gone from the Las Vegas Raiders. And in year 1 of their draft, they had 3 number 1 picks. Mayock and Gruden had 3 number 1 picks in their first year. So how did they turn out now that it's official? The Raiders have made their final cut. And the Mayock-Gruden era of the Las Vegas Raiders is now officially over. In 2019, 3 first-round picks. First-round picks, big picks. 3 in 2019. Defensive end Clelin Ferrell, running back Josh Jacobs, and safety Jonathan Abram. I remember at the time thinking Jacobs and Abram, boy, that's a hell of a draft. So 2019, Ferrell, Jacobs, and Abram. Those were the 3 picks in the first round, 2019. None of them got 5th-year options. All 3 of them are basically done. They're not getting a second contract. They're not getting a veteran's contract. They are all just 2019, 3 first draft picks. The geniuses of Gruden and Mayock decide to get 3 guys. None of them get a second contract. 2020. How about 2020 when Mayock and Gruden got another crack at it? They had a couple of first round picks. They went with Henry Ruggs III and cornerback Damon Arnett. Both 2020 first round picks have now been waived by the team for off-field incidents. Of course, Henry Ruggins murdered a girl by driving drunk in his Corvette. Remember him last year? Drove and killed that girl. So there you have it. 2019, the 3 picks that Mayock and Gruden, all of them, none of them got a veteran contract. They all basically, their option was declined. 2020, the 2 first-round picks, neither of them are on the team anymore. Both of them because they were pieces of shit in the real world. 2021. And here's where we get to this one. 2021 first-round draft pick offensive lineman Alex Leatherwood, taken by Mike Mayock and Gruden in 2021. 1 year in the league, first-rounder. Waived as of today. There is no trace of anything that the geniuses of Mike Mayock and John Gruden did with the Las Vegas Raiders that is still left standing. It is now it is no longer their team. I think that's hysterical. I think that's just hysterical because Mike Mayock, so arrogant, such a prick, really thinks that he knows more about college football players and draft and all. Really just so unlikable. And then he gets a shot in the front office and he shits the bed. Never get another shot. Sorry, Mike. Hope Fox Sports is hiring because I don't know that you'll be able to get back to ESPN or NFL Network. Oh, let's see. Unless he is. I don't even know where Mike Mayock is now. Maybe he did, because that's all. Just recycle. Just recycle old trash. That's all any of this is. Ignore the fact that Mike Mayock was exposed for being a total fraud because when push came to shove and he actually had draft picks, he shit the bed on all of them. He had 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 first-round picks since 2019. 6 first-round picks since 2019. That's 3 years. 6 first-round picks. None of them are on the team anymore. None of, well, I mean, except for the guys whose options weren't, they're still playing out their rookie deals. Let's see. Who else? Gruden. Wingstop. Wingstop is trending today. Wingstop. I don't know if I like Wingstop. I don't know how I feel about it. Wingstop is trending because Wingstop has a new chicken sandwich. Oh man, they're excited about this. Chicken sandwich wars are restarting. Oh, and it's going viral. The new Wingstop chicken sandwich. Can we stop? Can we stop with the chicken sandwich? This whole thing was a fluke. Okay. Popeyes introduced a chicken sandwich like 2 years ago, 3 years ago now. And the hook on their chicken sandwich, at least in the very beginning, was how crazy is it that Popeyes does chicken, but they've never done a chicken sandwich? Popeyes is finally doing a chicken sandwich. Now, the X factor in that is that the Popeyes chicken sandwich is better than all the others. That's just a fact. I don't know if that happened by accident. I don't know. Because again, it was just, we're going to introduce a chicken sandwich and we do chicken and we've never done a chicken sandwich. So isn't that weird? So now we're doing a chicken sandwich here, have a chicken sandwich. And people ate it and they were like, holy shit, this Popeyes chicken sandwich is really good. And it was really good. So then everybody had to get in the game. So then everybody's like, oh, really? You think you can do a chicken sandwich? No, everybody's doing chicken sandwiches. I got chicken sandwiches coming on my ass. And by the way, now can we stop with the Nashville hot chicken? This is like Nashville hot chicken. I swear to God, if there's a vape store, there's a Nashville hot chicken opening up right next to it. Every strip mall, a brand new Nashville hot chicken. It's good, but does there need to be like 50 Nashville hot chickens in this neighborhood when a year ago there were none? There were none. All right, so Wingstop's got a chicken sandwich. I'm sure it's going to be fine. Honestly, though, dude, I really like the McChicken. The $1.27, just simple McChicken. Call them chicken box around this house. I'm going to run up to McDonald's. You want a chicken box? And then the amount of box that he gives me is how I know how many he wants. Like if I say to my son, go to McDonald's and pick up a chicken box. You want a chicken box? If he goes, buck, that means he wants 3. And he can have 3 because they're $1.27 and they're small. I just pulled the curtain back on the way me and my son communicate. How many chicken box you want? Buck. All right, 3 coming up. Mickey Dolenz is trendy. Now this is I didn't realize this until I investigated why Mickey Dolenz is trending. It dawned on me. Mickey Dolenz is the last surviving monkey. They're all dead. I didn't realize that until this morning. We lost Mike Nesmith. We lost Peter Tork. I think Davy Jones went first. Mickey Dolenz is the last monkey. Now, that's not why he's trending. That's just why I went, oh, isn't that weird? Mickey Dolenz is trending because Mickey Dolenz is suing the FBI. Yeah, that's right. Mickey Dolenz is suing the FBI to get them to open up their file on the monkeys. Apparently, the monkeys were in the crosshairs of the FBI back in the day, and they had this big file, and, they're un-American. The monkeys, as it turns out, because in 2009, I want to say, the FBI released some of the files that they had on celebrities, and the monkey file was one that was released, but it was heavily redacted. There were all kinds of things that were blacked out when they were released. So Mickey Dolenz is now suing to have, through the Freedom of Information Act, he's suing to have the unredacted information that the FBI compiled on the monkeys back in the 1960s made public. I'd be interested in reading that. I'll see what the monkeys were getting into. I mean, I can imagine what the monkeys were getting into. Crazy times. And they were the monkeys. They were big. So I can imagine. But yeah. It stems from their friendship with John Lennon and Jimi Hendrix. That's why John Lennon and Jimi Hendrix were considered cultural enemies number 1 and number 1A here in America by the FBI. John Lennon was a bad guy and Jimi Hendrix was a bad guy. And the monkeys hung out with both of them. So apparently there was a file on the monkeys. And that's why Mickey Dolenz is trending. How sad. The last one. Do you guys know what Funko Pops are? Jeff Ballard has an incredible suggestion here. Jeff Ballard says we need to start a fish sandwich war. We really do. I need to see the fish sandwich game stepped up. Because I'll tell you, I think the Filet-O-Fish is unbelievable. It's going to be hard to beat the Filet-O-Fish. McDonald's could improve the Filet-O-Fish by making it like twice the size. Cause I mean, I eat 3 Filet-O-Fish and that's 6 pieces of bread. I don't need 6 pieces of bread. You know what I mean? I mean, I would just like maybe one bigger sandwich instead of the little ones. But that's a great point, Jeff. Although what kind of places would have a fish sandwich? Like a lot of places serve chicken, burger places serve chicken sandwiches. So you can do that. But like, where do you get like fish? Do a lot of places have fish? Does Burger King have a fish sandwich? I don't even know. I don't know. Jeff says Filet-O-Fish is shit. Now I don't know if he failed to include the word "the" before shit because I see that I would say Filet-O-Fish is the shit, but apparently Jeff maybe Jeff doesn't like it. Filet-O-Fish is shit. Okay, Funko. Let's get back into Funko. You know what Funko is? Have you seen Funko? My kid loves these Funko things. Funko, comic book stores, GameStops. They're these little dolls, right? They're like little, I don't know if they're bobbleheads. I don't know what they are. But Funko has finally come out with something that apparently people have been demanding. I don't know who these nerds are that are demanding it, but whatever. That's fine by me. Funko has come out with, where is it? Oh, hold on. I want to show you these things. Boy, I apologize. Funko, what are they called? Funko Pops. Funko Pops. You've seen them. Kids have them. They collect them. They're like little. Are they bobbleheads? They look like bobbleheads. But here, I'm going to show you these. Let's get these up here. Okay. So Funko has finally released a line of. Are you ready? Pop it up there. Boom. Soprano Funko dolls. That's right. Are you a fan of The Sopranos? I'm a fan of The Sopranos. Let's go through this though. I've been watched the entire series of The Sopranos at least 3 times, and I'm about to start a 4th time. So let me see if I can identify these Funko Sopranos characters. Because I don't know who any of these people are. Paulie Walnuts, right here, bottom left. Paulie Walnuts. I know that's Paulie Walnuts because of the skunk haircut, right? So that's Paulie. All right, this is Christopher. All right, I'm going to go with Christopher, although they should have done a unibrow, right, for Christopher, because Christopher's got kind of a unibrow. This is Tony? I don't know. Is this Tony? I don't know. It could be. That looks like a Tony. He's not fat enough to be Tony, but maybe Funkos aren't fat. This is Carmela, right? This is going to be Carmela. I mean, I'm guessing. But see, the top makes me think that it's Christopher's girlfriend. Who's Christopher's girlfriend? Not Carmela. What do you say? This is stupid. What's her name? I don't care. And this is Silvio. But again, I don't. And then down here, what do we got? A second Tony? It's obviously Tony with the cigar and the duck. Oh, does the duck come with Tony in the bathrobe? Because this is ground zero for the character of Tony Soprano in episode 1, right? Isn't it episode 1 where he walks out in the backyard in his bathrobe smoking his cigar, and he sees that there's a duck in his pool, and he kind of gets overcome with anxiety and passes out, and that's why he goes to a therapist. So this is ground zero Tony. So that's definitely Tony. That's Tony when he had his anxiety attack. But this is also Tony, right? I don't know, whatever. If you're into these things, go ahead. My kid loves Funko, but doesn't know anything about Sopranos, so I don't think I'm going to have to worry about these. The Goldbergs is trending. The Goldbergs is trending because the new season is set to premiere, and they're moving onwards and upwards without Murray. That's right, the character of Murray, the dad on the Goldbergs, played by Jeff Garland. Jeff Garland, one of the nicest people I've ever met. One of just the most genuine, cool. I mean, I've met him a number of times. I've met him a number of times in professional settings and in not professional settings, like just hanging out at a party, sitting at a table and blah, blah, blah. He's a nice guy. He's a really nice, friendly guy. You know, really kind, really nice, friendly, remembers people's name. That was the thing that really stuck with me, that he remembered my name. He wasn't famous, but we had just met, and I knew who he was because he was a stand-up comedian at the time who was pretty successful in the Chicago area, and I was aware of him, and I'd met him, and he remembered my name. And I just remember thinking, That's pretty cool. And then here you go, like 10 years later, actually at this point, 25 years later. Yeah, this is like, we're going back to the mid 90s. So now you come all the way, and he's a big star. Curb Your Enthusiasm, love him as Jeff, the manager on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Was so happy when he got the Goldbergs, because that's a mainstream network primetime show. That means he's got money now. And then they ran him out. And they ran him out because he was born in the 1950s. And he makes jokes that apparently you can't make anymore. And, whatever it is. Jeff Garland has officially exited the Goldbergs. The ABC sitcom confirmed that season 10, which premieres on September the 21st, will start sans Garland's character Murray. Last season sparked controversy after a stand-in was used for Garland following toxic workplace allegations and HR complaints against the actor. Well, Garland is not going to be on this season, obviously. Murray will have passed. So they're killing off Murray, and we are sort of starting from a place of multiple months removed from his death. So they're just going to move on. So the new seasons, they're just going to move on. They're just whatever. That's fine. That's fine. He doesn't need it. And notice the really cool people at HBO and Curb Your Enthusiasm were like, yeah, no, you still work here. Yeah, no, you're still on the show. I don't give a shit what they did over the Mickey Mouse Disney Network. They're afraid of everybody. Somebody says one bad thing about one of their stars, and all of a sudden that star is thrown on the trash heap of life. Nah, that's not how we do things at HBO. And certainly I can't imagine Larry David would allow that to happen, since Larry David and Jeff Garland are such good friends. Anyway, that's fine. Jeff Garland's awesome. He's awesome, really nice. Never until this story come out, and I have a lot of friends who know him. Never have I ever heard a negative word about Jeff Garland. Never. He's beloved. People love him. Except when he makes jokes about, I don't even know what the jokes were, but he's not a dangerous guy. He's not a mean guy. He is kind of the dude that we should all kind of try to be. Just big, lovable, kind. He might be a hugger. That generation likes to hug. And you know what? When someone from that generation tries to hug someone from like Gen Z, toxic environment. So look, don't hug. Me, I've always been, because I guess I do kind of come from the hugging generation where, how are you? Hug. I guess that was kind of a thing that was normal, but not for me. I don't hug. People know that. People know that about me. I don't hug. My partner, Kelly, she don't hug either. I've never hugged Kelly, and Kelly has never hugged me. We've been together since 1997, and we worked together before that since like 1994. Never hugged. We're not huggers. I think Jeff Garland might be a hugger. I think, and we know that there are some creepy huggers out there. Come on, get in here. Let me give you. No, that doesn't fly anymore, dude. That ended with millennials, maybe. Maybe millennials were the last generation that you could hug, without them feeling abused by the hug. It's not that the hug was bad. It's just that I think that he was thinking sexual thoughts while hugging me. And so now, can we get him fired? Stop it. Toughen up. Toughen up so that it is easier for us to identify the real monsters among us. There are real monsters among us. Fucking pussies. Everybody's so pussy now. My feelings were hurt. I don't know how I'm expected to continue with hurt feelings. My feelings have been hurt since 1975. Okay? Get over it. What is this about? Oh, okay. So there's a couple of other things here. I didn't know if I really wanted to go into these. There's a story. It's a really sad story, but so I normally wouldn't, like, the story is not why I'm talking about it, but I read the story and I got caught up in it. Oh, what are you doing here? You just letting yourself in? The dog just walked in. I got to close the door. My dog can open the door. And not just by pushing it. She uses her little hands, paws, I guess they're called. She uses her little paws. And she just starts with the knob, right? She starts just like hitting with the knob. And while she's doing that with the knob, she's leaning on the door. So after doing that for like, a minute or so, she can open the door. And that's what she just did. And she walked right in. So be right back. Gotta teach you to close the door. That's the trick. The trick isn't teaching her to open the door, because that's just, at some point, just lean hard enough on it. The trick is to teach the dog how to close the door once she has come in, because she just opens the door and leaves it open. All right. All right. So we got this story. No, no, Melissa. Melissa says, oh no, I'm a hugger. Am I a bad person? No, no, absolutely not. There is absolutely nothing bad about wanting to embrace another human being. I mean, without touch, we'd all die. Seriously, without touch, without some sort of human touch, people become terrible when they're cut off from all kinds of. So no, you as a hugger, you're not a bad person. I'm saying the bad people are the people who can't tell the difference between somebody who's just a warm and giving and generous human being and somebody who's, trying to cop a feel. Because not everybody who hugs is trying to cop a feel, is my point. There was a generation where hugging was just normal, where everybody just hugged. And then a couple of creepers got in there and they started making it weird. And now nobody can hug anybody. I don't hug anyway. Again, I don't have a dog in this fight because I'm not a hugger anyway. But I do see how it's happening. I do see that hugs were innocent and they were lovely and they were a beautiful thing between two human beings. And a creeper showed up and grabbed a little ass, and now suddenly every 19-year-old thinks that a hug is akin to date rape. And so that's why Murray Goldberg died. Dad, tell us how Murray Goldberg died on the Goldbergs. Well, he hugged a Gen Z girl, and that was all she wrote. This other story that I wanted to do here, it's really just, it's not the story about a dead kid. It's a very sad story about a dead kid, 15-year-old boy. I don't even want to do this story now because it's not about the passing, which is in and of itself sad. It's about the media manipulation and the coverage of the story, the headline. All right, I'll do it real quick. So what really bothers me about the story is that the headline, which is, used to get your attention, it's to make you read the story, made me want to read the story, the whole reason I read the story was because of the headline. And the headline is just a flat out lie. It's a flat out lie created out of whole cloth in order to get people to go, oh, that makes the story more interesting. I'm going to read it. Here's the headline. Shock death. Shock death. And it really is a sad death. There's nothing, so I'm not going to say the kid's name. I'm not going to talk about details. Shock death. Heartbreaking details emerge after football player 15 dies the night before his very first game. And in the first sentence is, on the night before his very first game, or no, the night before he was set to star in his very first game. Okay, so that's how it says. The night before he was set to star in his very first game, basically he died. So here's my problem with it. The whole thing is about he was going to play his first game. He was going to star in his first. See, it's all these manipulative. Star? How do you know he was going to star? What if he sucked? He never played before. What if he sucked? The very next day, he was going to star on the football field the very next day, but he died in surgery the night before. So the story goes on to say about how he had shoulder surgery planned. He had a shoulder injury, right? He wasn't fucking playing in the game on Friday. If he's having shoulder surgery on Thursday night, I know it doesn't make the story as gripping for you, but it's just a lie. The night before he was set to star in his first game ever. The night before he was set to star in his first game ever. He died during a planned reconstructive shoulder surgery. Turns out he had a heart attack. It was a shock thing. He had a heart attack and he died. Well, he had pre-planned. This wasn't a car accident the night before his first game. This was pre-planned shoulder surgery, and they're still. This is why I didn't want to do it, because this is the kind of thing that I rant about. Over drinks. This is not just the way the media it's not so much that they just flat out lie and make up things entirely. Although there are some out there that do that. If you've ever fallen down any of those Q holes, you have seen some things that look like news stories that are just like, what? Okay. But this is just a manipulate. They're just, He wasn't going to play. It bothered me. It bothered me. He was going to star in his first game the next day. But wait, he's having shoulder surgery for an injury that he already had the night before. So he wasn't going to play. No, he was going to star in the game the next day. No, he wasn't, because you can't play a football game the day after having reconstructive shoulder surgery. You're out for the season, probably. He probably wasn't going to play at all. Oh, does that ruin the story? Does that make it not quite as clickbaity for you? Oh. I used to defend the media. I used to think that people who said stuff about, and I still do defend certain media entities, but man, there is so much bullshit out there now. And that came from, full disclosure, that came from The Sun, which is a London tabloid. So when they say things like star in the game, they don't know football. They think football is soccer to them, right? So this is a London tabloid newspaper doing a story about an American teenager who was a football player, American football player who died. So give him but come on, you have ankle surgery. You're a soccer player. You have ankle surgery. You're in the Premier League. You have ankle surgery on Thursday night. You're not playing the next day. What is... I just hate it. Tom Browning. You guys remember Tom Browning? This was funny. I saw this trending. This was trending earlier today. Mr. Not So Perfect. Tom Browning, of course, legendary Cincinnati Reds pitcher from the 1980s. Cy Young winner, All-Star, perfect game. Famous for his perfect game. Mr. Perfect. That's his nickname. Tom Browning. Tom Browning drove his car into a house. Tom Browning got super jacked up the other night in Ohio. He got lost, and he drove into a house, and he got a DUI, although they call it something different in Ohio. Well, here, let me see if I can find this. What do they call it? OVI, operating vehicle while intoxicated. All right, now I want to show this video. I want to show this video, but we have a problem with videos. And some videos are unwatchable. And I have not been paying attention to the chat room when I play a video because I'm watching the video. I'm trying to, so it's hard. But I want to play this video, and I'm going to watch the chat room. And if it has that terrible echo and that terrible, it's unlistenable. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that it took me this long to recognize it. But I'm going to play this video, and I'm going to sit and I'm going to stare at the chat room, and it might work fine. It might work fine. Here's hoping, right? Here's hoping it works fine. But if it doesn't, I need you people to tell me, because I need to start tracking what sources are causing this, because certain sources that I pull from do not cause the echo and the drag and all that, but others do. So let's do this. Let's watch Tom Browning. Let's watch Tom Browning go through a really rough night, and for no other reason, just for me to check out the video. Where is it? Just to see if... Okay, here we go. It's body cam. Are we going to get body cam, or are we going to get a... Oh, let's just do this.
Was arrested and charged for OVI after he...
I'll do the story. All right. Hold on. Let me share. All right, I'm going to be watching in the chat. I need you, and I know there's a delay, so I need you guys to tell me if you're hearing the really bad video sound that we've been having the problem with the last few days. Please let me know. All right, here we go.
He was arrested and charged for OVI after he crashed at home.
Yeah. In Georgetown with the body camera video you only see right here on Fox 19 now.
Yeah, Church Robert live tonight here at the Brown County Sheriff's Office, because it was just this morning that Mr. Perfect, Tom Browning, posted bail.
Hey, all right, there's echo. Oh, man. Okay, so I don't know what to tell you. I don't know if Ed's there. Maybe Ed can poke around and maybe figure out why I can't play video anymore. I don't know. All right, well, there you go. Anyway, Tom Browning story. I'm sorry. It's so frustrating because I just don't know. I have no idea. April says it should be on YouTube, but no, YouTube is causing the problem. Everything that I play off YouTube absolutely has an echo. Stuff that I play off Twitter does not have an echo. Stuff that I play off Instagram does not have an echo. It's only the stuff that I play off YouTube and then certain other sources. Like that source was an embedded source to I don't have a clue. All right. Jeez Louise. All right. I just checked. I don't know. I don't know how to fix this. So we're going to have to try and figure out a way to fix it. Mikhail Gorbachev is dead. Ed just told me that. I just checked my thing and Mikhail, you know what I mean? The last general secretary of the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev. Well, that ain't right. He's just looking for shelter. There you go. We're out. Gorbachev is dead. Yeah, I know he told me an hour ago, and I saw it. I saw in the chat room where he posted Mikhail Gorbachev still dead, but I was rolling, and I don't think that is a big enough death to stop the show. Mikhail Gorbachev. To be honest with you, I thought he died 20 years ago, but he's dead. And I appreciate it. Ed's my guy. Ed's the guy who tells me when people die. Ed's good at that. Ed knows when people die. Well, thank you for joining me in this weird day. I don't like when I don't do shows. I like to be able to just come and sit and rant, and you guys allow me to do this, and I appreciate it. Former Soviet Union President Gorbachev dies. It's from World News. That's incorrect. No, I mean, he's dead. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't the president. There was no president. Boris Yeltsin was the president. And he was general secretary of the Grand Soviet. Okay, that's what he was. President. But the news, just saying, I did not like president, because you're an American and you're dumb and you just think of things of like being like president. So he was like president. Just say what he was. He was general secretary. They didn't have the position of president. It wasn't, I mean, they did, but it was a lesser thing. And Boris Yeltsin was president of the Russian parliament or whatever it is. I don't even know what they call it. Right there, news headline, former Soviet Union president. Stupid. Why are we dumbing shit down? I gotta believe that the journalist who wrote that headline knows there was no such position as Soviet Union president. I gotta believe that. The best is yet to come. All right, I got nothing else. I love you guys. We'll be back at 9 o'clock tonight for Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. You're the best. Tip the show if you can. We didn't make it again. We didn't make it even close. It's this is becoming we had a good summer. And now it's back to the grind. Venmo, Cash App, drop a little something in the tip jar. Be like April. April is such an amazing, consistent tipper. Thank you, April. And I will fix this problem, April, because you deserve better.